What's up, guys? It's me, Spectrar, here in another video. Sorry I've been so bad about uploading a video, but I was having a hard time designing this ship. But I think I've got to a state where I'm kind of happy with it, so I want to go over it with you. And in case you don't remember, or you didn't watch some of the previous videos, I'm trying to design a ship for kind of like a self-imposed rules hard mode on another playthrough of the campaign. And I say hard mode loosely, so it's really not. I'm basically taking in a super overpowered ship, but I'm stating that I can't die. I lose if I die. And that's, I'm gonna try to include the parts where you're kind of like supposed to die, but it's not game breaking if you don't. At least I'm hoping it's not game breaking. We'll see. But this is the ship I kind of designed or come up with. It was originally going to be the giant saw, but that broke the game. So, yeah. So yeah, let's go over the ship. So, first off, in the back, we have an independent system, energy-wise, controlling our engines and back rotation with the thrusters. Also, hooked up to this, we have some of the scanners, as well as powering some magnetic scoops. And I forget what these are called, the artifact activators. And our Higgs accumulator to go fast and get us places. And then I also, because we had space out here, put 2 of the beam controllers, which we'll get to in a second. But it's all kind of on its own independent system. Oh, and 2 repair drones, I forgot. But in this kind of section, I didn't do a whole lot of pathways up towards the front of the ship, because with 2 repair drones, it's just not super necessary. I did add some paths to get 2 engines. So worst case scenario, if this back end of the ship is destroyed and I can't get the repair drones going anymore because, you know, this is destroyed, I can reach to back here in order to repair the reactor and a couple engines if I have to get to some, you know, key components to get us up and running again. To hopefully be able to limp away. Because our system requires a lot of gray goo for like repairs and the turrets, I added 4 magnetic scoops and then the crafting station to make the gray goo. I'll be able to go into this instance with a bunch of gray goo as well, but I think it's a good idea to be able to make my own. And then 2 artifact activators, because I do have some artifacts that I can put in there right away. Some basic storage. I didn't feel like I needed a ton because we're not really going into this campaign having to collect a lot of resources. So I figured this is plenty. And then obviously the 2 repair drones. I was going to try to incorporate them into the hallway since they have the hallways, but the spacing and everything I needed just wasn't quite working out, so I put them off on their own. And I figured that was probably fine. Before I go any further, overall the ship is depending on shields mostly, but as you can see, it is still heavily armored. I'll get into the shield part, I guess, a little bit heavier in a minute. But these engines seem to be plenty, so possibly even overkill. Okay, moving on, we got some major structure. I don't like to get into the practice of keeping all the structure in one spot, but with how everything was laying out, I was kind of forced to. I have a little bit of structure sprinkled here and there. You'll see some up here, obviously. There's a little bit up here up front, but the majority of it is these 4 bricks, for lack of a better term, back here, to give us our buttload that's right there. It's like 1.2 mil. Yeah, 1.23 mil. So it's not quite the 3 times the amount of inertia rule that I like to try to follow. It's just shy of that, but it's at least more than double, which I would say double is the bare minimum. So that's kind of what we're working with here. Now, to combat being a mostly shield-oriented defense, I have 2 of the Tempest, that's what they're called, Tempest reactors, powering a bunch of these Restore shield emitters. Now, the reason I went with these ones is they may have a smaller shield storage, but they replace shields a whole lot faster. So it can, these shields. So I built the bare bones of this in the regular profiles outside of the campaign to test stuff, and then I rebuilt it here inside the campaign. And when I built the bare bones, I didn't add any of the armor, and I was able to survive the entire survival mode, and actually do really well. And so for the most part, the shields do a really good job. And the reason I'm trying to go so heavy into that, on top of a good layer of armor, is that there's going to be several scenarios in the campaign where I am really, really, really surrounded and being really hammered from a lot of directions, and I need to be able to withstand that well enough to get myself out if I need to, or fight my way through. So we're kind of going beefy on the shield generation. If my weapons were smaller, I probably would have gone even further into that. Or if my weapons didn't take up so much whole room, I probably would have maybe gone a little bit heavier into that. But there's only so much space I can make for heat sinks and reactors. So that was also a large limiting factor. I didn't want my entire edge to be just the heat sinks, because some bullets will be making it past the shields. And I don't need every reactor complaining about heat dissipation. So, with that being said, that's why we have as much as we have, but didn't go too much more overboard. Now, in addition to shields, I also have 2 shield boosters, which would help in those emergency situations. But I'm trying my best not to use these too much, because these are put in a little bit of an afterthought, in the sense that they really don't have much room to steal power from what this system is powering, which I'll show you in a second. So I can't be using these constantly, otherwise I won't be able to kill things as fast. But they are there in case I do need them. And I mean, I do have some energy to spare, but it's not a constant use shield booster situation for either of these. Okay, so on to the next bit of section, which is more of the weapon systems for the ship. I wanted to try to create something that was very much so still kind of like the Saw. And I tried several different things. I tried to do it with lasers. I tried to do it with like a ton of smaller weapon mounts, ballistic mounts, energy mounts. I tried several things, and they just weren't working the way I wanted. They didn't have a good enough effect like the Saw for me to, I don't know, be happy with. And honestly, some of them, because they didn't have as many bullets flying through the air, or projectiles flying through the air like the Saw did, some of them honestly had a really hard time getting through shields. And that's just not acceptable. So I went back to beams, ended up learning a lot about beams, but we have a very large infinite beam weapon on this thing. It's not using the tier 2 plus ion beam controller. It's actually using the graviton beam controller. And it's using 4 of them. And that's the most I could get reasonably with 2 Tempest reactors. Now I could have cheated and they hacked the game a little bit with mods and hacks and gotten a tier 3 reactor and be able to handle either more graviton beams or a bunch of ion beam controllers with more energy emitters and everything. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to try to do this with vanilla parts. And I say vanilla parts, vanilla campaign parts, I should say, because they were all vanilla parts. They just aren't part of the campaign yet. So this really limited me hard, but I was able to power a continuous infinite beam with 2 Tempest reactors and 18 of the I3 emitters. And that's going off of 4 graviton beam controllers. So you got the 2 up here and the 2 back here. No real reason on their placement other than they're kind of separated and fit where I had extra room, and it seemed to fit nice. So with that said, I had to I couldn't use conduits because they couldn't transfer enough energy, and that's why I have so many capacitors. It's not for the capacity itself. it's because these capacitors can transfer at 120 energy per second, whereas the conduits are limited to 50. And so this is kind of trying to steal from the beams a little bit, the boosters that I was talking about. But so it's okay if it steals a little bit here and there because it is a continuous beam and it should be okay. But I can't be stealing too much. Now, because of my time with the OC2 ship, which is, you know, the same whole design, but the campaign version of it, I find it really useful to have crew still manning cannons because they're really good at taking out small annoying ships and shooting other ships while I'm fighting something. So I tried to fit as many ballistic mounts as I could for them. And I'm going to make them all kind of run the large rail guns. It's large, yeah, large rail mount or something like that. This one like runs a double. You got a large rail mount, and then I think it's a medium because they all shoot roughly the same distance and do similar damage. So that way the AI isn't getting confused by having multiple different types of turrets as to where it needs to aim and lead times and all that stuff. But I put them all kind of on their own independent energy. These two small reactors are powering these four. These two are powering these four. And then I have more independent energy for rotation up front. Most likely these will be on-off destroyed. So they're nice to have, but these back ones can turn me pretty decently. So you get kind of the saw action from the continuous beam, only being able to really kind of shoot this kind of 45-degree forward. And really, once it gets past the armor, it really does melt. Oh, and I should say the main reason I did go with the graviton beam rather than the ion is that the ion requires so much more energy, and so I really wasn't able to get anything worthwhile with just these two reactors. And so I actually got more damage by going with more graviton beam controllers. And it has and I like the effect of the add mass to target, making them slower. The only thing I do hate is that it is a shorter range. So the ion one is 700, this is 580. But I'm willing to kind of take that hit. So yeah, that's basically really all there is about the ship. I'm still sticking to my guns of having a really fatly heavy armored nose, since I'll be facing the enemy the entire time, or as much as I can. And with this being a ship that if I get really badly hurt, I need to be able to limp away successfully. I wanted to make sure I had plenty of room to make mistakes and still be able to get away, if that makes sense. And these ballistic mounts are also why I'll be needing more gray goo. So, on top of the repair stuff. And so that's kind of the ship. I was going to come into the campaign where I am now and do a run in the gauntlet, but I actually think, because I downloaded the mod where I can export stuff from the campaign. So I have the deal here with all of the armor and such. I might just, take this into the survival mode. But one thing I really need to make sure is that these are all assigned turrets. So I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, so that's all done. The only crappy part about doing this survival is that oh shoot, I forgot I spawn up in this dumb thing. Okay, hold on. I forgot about that too. That's another stupid thing about that. So we're going in a little bit handicapped without those two turrets because they're not connected, and you always spawn in the top rightmost hallway component. Gosh dang it. I hate that. I hate that that's a thing. You should be spawning at like your, I don't know, what's the word? Command and control center or whatever, cockpit, or at like your airlock or something. Something more reasonable that you can control. Okay, now let's head back into survival. Now, because we don't start with any gray goo, I guess we start with a bit. Let's come into here and put this gray goo into here. I might at some point try to use these collectors if it'll let me. Got it. Let's start with give me a challenge. Otherwise, we just start with a bunch of small ships. And it, well, you still start with small ships, but it's hard to get away from it. Oh, okay. We'll have to delete those in a second. I don't know where the background is. Yeah, see, once we get past armor, especially on these small ships, they just melt, which is really nice. We just in a dark void? Oh, okay. Guess we're just in a dark void. Stuff didn't really want to load for me. That's new. That's never happened to me before. Come here, you. So rotation isn't bad, but the rotation is still going to be a very fun, making this hard for myself kind of a thing, despite having a really overpowered ship. Okay, killed all them. Let's get a crew with a shield regeneration aura, so we can take this crew member and assign him to that. Yeah. Where's this other guy? Over here. So maybe after this next one, I'll see if my magnetic scoops are picking anything up. Let's see if we can't make some gray goo. So as you can see, the shield is, or the beam, oh geez, is continuous. And my shields are actually holding up really well. You're dead. Okay. Yeah, sure. Send me some repair drones. So we don't need to worry about gray goo too much for self-repair, because we do get those repair drones between, you know, bouts of fighting. Oh boy. Yeah, see, I think this is going to do well. We'll be able to, like, kind of screen past some of those basic fights. But for those really big, gnarly ones, I think there's just several of them in the Pirate Cove. Are more of the ones I'm thinking of. Those guys are kind of dead. Where are you? Okay, who else do we need to kill? Apparently someone's still alive on that. I'll try to get... Oh, well, I over-rotated. Some of these smaller guys. It is very satisfying to just melt those guys with a beam. Not gonna lie. You can kind of see as my beam cuts out as I go too far to the left or right. This guy's still not dead. Okay. Where are you? Middle there somewhere, maybe? There we go. Okay. Let's get repair nano. Yeah. Let's quickly see if we can't hop into here. Craft. And come over here. Oh, wait, what? Oh, I have to select it. That's right. Craft as much as I can. I don't know how to do the mass craft, but that's good enough for now. That should get us a decent way. Okay, I'm back. I don't know what we're fighting. Oh, these fun guys. Okay. This guy we need to chase. No, this is... Boy, the really big boy. So you can see our shield there is actually holding up really well against this guy. We could almost just kind of sit here and look at this guy and be okay. The problem is once we get past the internal capacity of the... oh god, what's the word I'm looking for? Of the shield generators, it will begin to struggle against multiple enemies, but it still does okay. I haven't even felt the need to touch my shield boosters yet, so. But what would happen if, while we're using this, use one? It doesn't seem to affect the overall energy of my beams too much. Okay, that guy's dead. Let's get another crew member so he can man those. Ooh, this guy's gonna be a problem, so we need to make sure we chase him. The only other annoying part is the beam doesn't affect rockets. We're getting lucky. We caught this guy before he could get too far away. That was really lucky. Otherwise, this guy becomes a pain. Because the rockets are one of those things where if they line up just right, they can hit one right after the other fast enough to really kind of mess me up. But not... I haven't tested that with all the armor, so maybe not mess me up nearly as much as it did in the past. But rockets are still kind of scary. And also just annoying because he does like the slow effect with his rockets. But, you know, still good stuff. Is that guy... He's not dead yet. They're in the middle somewhere. Is this guy dead? Okay. Yeah, next stage. We have some mastery points. I should probably get emitter stuff. I don't know which one I really chose. Sure, we'll do those. It's more of... I want Nimble Navigator and the Nanite Lattice. Those are the things I'm really concerned about. Making sure I have. Then after this next battle, we can try to get some more Grey Goo from our little production. See how much we're going through Grey Goo with our turrets. Okay, that guy's going up that way. So I was hoping to meet him around these rocks, but apparently that's not how he wants to play. So I think the railguns I've given the turrets are powerful enough. And ultimately, one of the reasons why I'm showing this build to you before I start the hardcore mode and why I'm kind of demonstrating how well it does is I want your input on it. If you see something that you feel like is completely stupid, let me know, and I'll either agree with you and change it, or I won't agree with you and won't, but I always appreciate a second look and any thoughts into what I could improve for the design. You never know. I might have missed something blaringly obvious, or you might have a design style that I hadn't thought about that I might agree with. But like any style, I may not agree with your styles. But I guess that's kind of the fun part of these shipbuilding games is we all kind of have our processes and preferences of what we like to try to add to a ship. It's kind of fun to see what other people can build, which is why I kind of enjoy the workshop. I'm tempted to try to do more videos like this where I build some kind of crazy concept of a ship. Maybe trying to focus more on smaller full-size ships since I don't play around with those a lot. And showcasing to you guys in this survival mode. I don't know if that sounds fun to you guys. Outside of the campaign stuff we're about to do. Come on, are you dead yet? Dang it, you're not dead yet. Where are you alive on this thing? Okay, there we go. Sure, let's do a dodge Chancellor. We're all out of crew position, so they're just kind of in there to help repair stuff. Okay. Oh, I said I was gonna... I'll let my crew kind of handle that stuff for a second. Here, why don't you drive the ship for a second while I do this? What could go wrong? Famous last words. Okay, so we got a bunch of dirt. Now, if I want to... Okay, I guess I just have no idea. I mean, what happened to the dirt? Can I just keep clicking this? This seems like it might be broken. Have we used any of this? Yes, we have used some of that Grey Goo. So we'll add that. Let's get back to in control of our ship. I don't know what you were doing, mate. Looks like you were killing things. And this effect happens to my ship in this mode sometimes. I don't know what it means. So now we're kind of getting to that scenario of being surrounded that I get a little bit worried about. However, it is mostly a mixture of these small ships and only one big ship. But as you can see, even to our more exposed, vulnerable side, our shield is holding up really well. Which makes me really happy. And it makes me feel like we will survive at least decently against bigger, scarier ships. Where there's like 8 of them. Because I feel like we ran into that several times in our latest season playthrough. So, you know. Hopefully it does as well as I'm hoping. Is this guy dead? I hope he's dead. Guess I could do the tab target thing to know for sure, but that's what I get for being lazy. So the ballistic mounts aren't like amazing, but I think they're just good enough for what I need. Help with some damage and help me deal with small stuff. Okay. Hey, send me some repair drones too. You got some more mastery. I guess I can select a bunch for my crew. Hopefully they can use all that. Let's reduce the explosion chance. Go with that. And more dispersion. That's per arc. Sure. And yeah, we don't really have any of those other systems, so yeah, good. Ooh, a big ship. This is one of the rocket ships, I believe. It is a big boy. Honestly, this guy, as long as you can survive his onslaught, this ship is really not that scary. You just shoot through this middle section that's very not that difficult to get through, and you win. It's like as soon as you get through any armor in the first one, win against this ship. It's like extremely easy to kill. I'm much more afraid of some of the other ships than this one. Though it does, you know, have some nastily fun and mean weapons on it, but it's just super easy to kill. Okay, next stage. What are you guys? Something mean and nasty. 2 of the beam guys? Okay. The beams are a little bit scary for against the shields, but especially with these guys, I hate how close they get. If I can just get past the front of their ship, I can take out their beam emitters pretty quickly. And from there, you know, they're pretty easy to deal with. Gotta love how they sit on top of each other. Yay. Okay. Lots of repair drones. I don't think I have a ton of damage, but you can see a little bit at the front. But not too bad. I'm kind of tempted to let these ships collect rather than, you know, being mean and fighting them one-on-one. Which my crew is going to fight them anyways. Kind of showcase how well my shields are doing for the most part. Except that guy's already kind of dead. Is dead. So maybe not on this one. I really want to get to the big ships. Okay, so I skipped through a couple of stages, and we haven't gotten to the big ship I want. But we do have a couple of big ones and a big missile ship this time. But it's another one of these unfortunately easy ships that should really be more scary, but it's just not. The AI is not friendly to this ship design, like I talked about, so this guy's unfortunately really easy to kill off. Point where I think I've killed everything in that, yeah. So now I can chase after this missile guy. Well, whatever this other guy is, tries to chase me. I don't think this is the one that. Look at that. Boom. My shields actually did a really good job at defending that. See, it's attacks like these where the missiles can more frequently get through on these larger missile ones, but not doing nearly as much as they did in the past now that I have more armor. So let's get rid of this guy's thrusters so he can't run away from me anymore. I do like this guy's weapon though for like testing the shields. Yeah. Yeah, see, I'm excited to get more into those just like almost in hard mode pick fights with some of those like large groups of SSC ships. Kind of excited to try that. Because if you've been watching me for a while, at least on this season, you see me in some of the fights of like have to like run away, repair, and almost like take a breather and then get back into the fight. I'm hoping with this ship I have to do that a lot less. Really have this thing be a brawling ship that could just sit in the middle and take the punishment. It can't. I mean, it dishes out punishment with this beam, but it's a slower dish out of punishment in the sense that I have to like rotate my ship and aim at the ship. It's not just like mass destruction around me the entire time. But this is the amount of power and destruction inside the ship is nothing to like sniff at, in my opinion. Come on, be a big ship. Is not. I guess we'll cut to when I get the big ship I want to fight me. Should be soon. Ah, meet the Inquisitor. I think this is the ship. Or maybe it's the one right after this. Either way, this is a newer ship. I think it's the one that just above this. Oh, is this the ship that can really mess me up? There's one that's got like the death cannon. Goal. These are still mean. I can't remember whether this is the one that has the insane gun. Well, if it has it, it didn't fire it, so that's good news. But it does have some mean large turrets. Luckily, our beam is extremely overpowered. And yeah, the ship is really overpowered for one-on-one combat like this likes to take you through. And it's more for those like group engagements where I'm severely outnumbered that I'm preparing for and worried about. I'm not really concerned about 1v1ing any particular ship in this game. So yeah, it's especially these ships. Arbalast. I feel like that's the missile ship, is it not? Oh boy, it is. Look at all those missiles. This is the guy where his missiles, I think, slow me down significantly. Yeah. So I got to try to play catch up. And oh, those missiles didn't get through me too quickly. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. My shields are holding up. Now he runs away. Boom, 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 boom. Where are you? Let's do some travel driving. That's how we catch up to a guy like this. And let him, you know, bounce off of an asteroid. Okay, let's take out his mobility. At least try to before he rotates. Now, as you can see, this is really putting my shields through the ringer. So if I remember right, there's a couple instances where I fight like one of these, but being like escorted by bigger ships than in this survival mode. Where it really does just get really gnarly. But again, one-on-one, not too worried. Eat the Hellbird. This is the big beam ship. I think. Where this guy could be a problem. And this is another one I'm worried about fighting in mass. Just because it is a beam ship. And the largest one. To where it can... it could really make my shields work. And make it so that I have to limp out. We'll let it shoot first. Yeah. Now I'm going to fight back. Because I think he's actually making through a little bit. Yeah, you can see it touching me. Stop it. You can see he's doing the same thing I'm doing to him. Ouch. Stop it. I gotta make it through him first. Okay. So you see that guy starting to cut me in half like I'm doing to him. Not to mention these side beam guys are really becoming a problem. Like this guy. He is hurting my side when I really don't want him to. So this guy needs to die, and unfortunately the guy we were just attacking has repaired himself. Okay. I need to rotate back to you. Because you still need to die. In fact, I can do... what is it? 3-4 on myself while this is going on. And I should probably do some shield boosting. If I'm being honest. Probably should have been doing that from the beginning. To help me survive that, but... oh well. In fact, I absolutely should have. For some reason, I wasn't. Question is, where are these crewmates to kill? Assuming they're somewhere in the middle. Not though. Which one is it saying it's in? That back one? Possibly. There we go. The best beam ship in the game. Now the Sephirim. Yes, this is the one that can really wreck me. And I would rather have more of my ship put together, but that beam guy really kind of did a number. So we'll add our own repair drones to the ones the game sent me. It just has that big cannon that does like the 3 concussive blasts in a row. And apparently it used to be like way worse and then got nerfed. But it can still be really devastating. So it's definitely nothing to, you know, ignore. And I'm fairly maneuverable, but I'm not maneuverable enough to avoid what it's going to do. Get our little pointer beam out front. Oh, I should have gone the other way. Oh, yep, see, you saw one of the concussive blasts hit me. I actually got really lucky there. And was able to get away without too much of a scratch. And then, frankly, the rest of its fighting ability isn't too scary for us with our shields. Ballistic weapons are way less scary. Which, you know, is a good thing. Oh, no more. Still cruise somewhere along this thing. Wherever he is. Okay, it's wanting me to pick an ally. I guess I'll do a battle cruiser since it's not really giving me an option. Yes, more healing, please. Now we are fighting 2 of those big boys, I believe. And I think from here on out, I think it's just 2 every single time, or it ups it each time. I can't remember. We'll do a couple more fights with these things because, you know, they're fun big ships to fight. And I'm hoping that they just keep sending more of them at me because, like more at a time. Because that weapon really is devastating. That's shooting right. Oh, see, that just barely missed me. That big concussive blast. It like has to line up just perfect for it to be devastating. And I think it's due to capacity and like how much it takes to recharge that he can't shoot again before I destroy that module. Which is why he really only gets 1 chance at it. And I can't tell if my ally has held up the other one or if it's coming up behind me like a shark. It's still kind of coming up behind me like a shark. We'll try our best to kill this guy before he gets here. That's the one crappy part about this mode is that you gotta kill all the crew. Get him? Okay. You, sir. I was kind of secretly hoping you'd come up behind me and wreck me, because it'd be funny. Oh, our big guy is fighting him. Let's see. I kind of want him to hit me with his big weapon. See if he can land a shot. See, it's just barely missing. Like I'm just barely on the edge enough to where I don't know if my shield takes it or my ship just kind of missed by it. But I don't know. Let's kill off this guy and try to get some more. Okay. Now we get another allied ship, and it only sent 2. I have a feeling this is just what it is from now on. I wish I didn't get an allied ship. But I think it's a smaller one this time, hopefully. Kind of want them to just wreck him. Okay, well, you know. Wished received. So let's see what happens when I try to take on 2 of these since they're both right next to each other. Oh, back up, back up, back up, back up. Ooh, he hit his ally with it. See what it did to his ship? See that? That can happen to mine. Okay, so they killed each other, which is a little bit of a stroke of luck. Although because of this corpse, I can't really damage them. Did it actually hit me? Oh, it did actually get me on the edge. And then see my nose front left is damaged by it. I wonder if it was the luck of him hitting his buddy that it landed on me better than it has so far. Or I don't know, finally my bad luck is catching up to me. Why is that taking so long to get through whatever's there? Okay, well, I'll kill these guys off since they're practically dead. Okay, the same thing. Repair drones. 2 ships and an ally. Oh, yeah, I guess this is kind of what it is. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think of this design. Hopefully you think it'll make for some fun battles like I do. And I don't know. Let me know if you guys still think this hardcore mode thing that I'm thinking of trying to do is even a good idea. It may be funner for you guys to watch me try to set up battles either in the sandbox or in this mode rather than the campaign. I don't know. I'm up for ideas. In the sandbox, I could honestly just create just as easily the overwhelming odds to fight against. We could try different scenarios with a bunch of different ships. So, I don't know, a lot of options. I'd love to hear your thoughts, either here in the comments of this video or in the Discord or whatever, because I'd rather, of course, I'm going to make videos that I want, but I would also at the same time rather make content that you guys would actually enjoy watching. So, if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you in the next one. See ya.